Well, happy Monday, folks. Got some catching up to do. There's been some interesting moments and things that have happened over the course of the weekend, and we are going to, jet fly, get things kick-started and off to a sparkling start to get your week started because, Pierre Poilievre pledged to help out 50,000 Canadians struggling with drug addiction and trying to make sure they come home safe, come home drug-free. And he put forward a very moving message that got everyone behind him nodding their heads and clapping in unison because it gave them hope. It helped Canada feel unified. This is an issue that most Canadians can be like, yes, this is an issue, and we want to see it improve. And that was a great message to see from Pierre Poilievre. And I know many have already reported on it, and we'll show you a couple of those clips just to rehash your memory a little bit, because we're going to juxtapose that to what the heck we just saw from Mark Carney last night in BC. The guy is utterly a clown. Doesn't care about unity, doesn't care about bringing Canadians together, and doesn't care about you. Only cares about the power and making sure people get in line and kiss his little booty hole. Sorry for the graphic image. I'm a little frustrated right now. And then building from there of what is happening with Canadians going into this weird election that we've experienced up to this point. But before we do that, make sure you like and subscribe because it's drastically important. We are going up against the billion-dollar machine in this country. And the only way that people are going to get any alternative media, any alternative viewpoint, is you liking, sharing, and subscribing to the show. It really helps. This is the only way, it's a cooperative movement. And that's the kind of the cool part of independent media. It's not just passive viewing that the CTV, the Globals, the CBCs of the world get. You get to be able to do this with us. You get to email us. You get to DM us. You get to be on lives with us, message us. And you also get to have a hand in shaping and changing the mindset of people in this country by simply liking the video, sharing it with your friends, and helping change minds one at a time in this country. So let's look at here. Pierre Poilievre putting forward a very tearful and moving message to those who have friends, those who have family, or those who are directly impacted by drug addiction in this country.
To stop the drugs, treat addiction, and bring our loved ones home drug-free for a change. We need a new Conservative government that can reverse this radical experiment and move the country towards hope and change. And that's why I'm here today. I'm here today to announce that a new Conservative government will fund recovery for 50,000 Canadians who need it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now, we've lost 50,000 people to overdoses. The least we can do is, in their honor, save 50,000 more. Let their loss not be in vain. To fund this program, we will end federal funding for opioids, defund the drug dens, sue the opioid manufacturers and consulting companies who created this crisis. We will eliminate back-office bureaucracy, and we will fund directly those people who need the help through groups that have success in delivering drug-free outcomes. And make no mistake, we will be shutting down drug dens. We will ban drug dens within 500 meters of schools, hospitals, daycares, playgrounds, and other places where the community is vulnerable. We will, let's be clear, these drug consumption sites do not work. And I'm going to quote the Lancet Commission study on this right now. There is no evidence that accessing a site lowers an individual's risk of fatal overdose over time, or that sites lower community overdose rates. We owe it to our fellow citizens who are still struggling with addiction to offer them a real chance to avoid adding to that terrible number of losses we've had already. We will expand access to recovery services with proven track records. These organizations, like the Oak Centre in Winnipeg, or Harvest House in Ottawa and Atlantic Canada, or Last Store Recovery, Together We Can, Cedar Recovery. These organizations have proven track records. They will be the ones that get the funding. We will set up a different kind of funding model than you've ever seen before. Normally, governments receive applications that have all the right buzzwords, they fork over the check, and afterwards a report is written. And it doesn't matter what the outcome is as long as all the paperwork is done. That ends. Here's how we're going to run our drug recovery program. Organizations are going to be paid a set fee for the number of months they keep addicts drug-free. And they will be paid more for harder cases. So if someone is a casual drug user and trying to break the addiction before it becomes serious, the funding might not need to be as much. It could be 10 or 15 counseling sessions for that person. But on the other hand, if it's an extreme addiction with someone living on the street for multiple years and on the verge of dying, well, obviously more funding would be needed for that. But the funding will be paid to organizations that successfully get people off drugs.
If you've seen this before, you know what he goes on to continue to say. But you get the idea and what the plan is. There are those who will poke some holes in it, and those who are like, okay, it could be better. They could try this. That's cool. That's fine. But this is a hopeful message that Canadians need right now. This is the message that Canadians can get behind. Something that is change, something that is hopeful. And it's not just Americans are trying to take us over. And that's something the media really tried to push forward at the end of this in the press conference. This crazy question comes out of left field to Pierre Poilievre saying, your rhetoric's a little dangerous, Pierre. Your rhetoric's a little dangerous. And this was Pierre's response to that question.
Worried that some of the language that you have used surrounding Canada's fentanyl crisis, language like super labs, kingpins, concerns surrounding uninspected shipping containers at the ports, that any of that sort of language is going to give oxygen to President Trump's narrative, which looks to be on its last legs. And are you planning to tone down any of that sort of rhetoric?
Well, I have not used rhetoric. I've used facts. They are super labs. In fact, I think the police call them super labs. The RCMP announced that they had actually shut down a super lab, which had enough fentanyl to kill hundreds, if not thousands, of people. I couldn't care less what a foreign leader thinks about our fentanyl problem. As you noticed, I didn't mention any foreign leader in my speech, and I've been speaking about this for years. I put out a video about the fentanyl crisis in the Lower Mainland 2 years ago. And remember, everyone said that it was all wrong and all exaggerated. Now, everybody admits that not only was my identification of the problem correct, but so were all of my solutions. So I don't accept the idea that we should stop saving our kids from fentanyl overdoses because of something the United States is saying. The Americans have the American problem with fentanyl has nothing to do with Canada. But at the same time, we have to take care of our own people. I'm not doing this for anyone other than the people who are suffering from addictions, so that not one more mother has to answer the rap on the door from a police officer who's there to tell her that her little baby boy or girl died on a street corner somewhere. I'm doing this for the 50,000 people we have lost. And I totally reject the idea that we cannot solve the problems that are in our own country because of a foreign distraction.
Boom. What a wild question. Your rhetoric's a little dangerous around this. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Especially after the address that he just gave. This is how out of touch our media are in this country. It's a little dicey, man. You might be giving Trump a little... Shut up. And I love Pierre's answer here. This has nothing to do with Trump. This has to do with our people. And we're going to deal with this issue with our people and help save some people. That's our goal here. This has nothing to do with a foreign power or a foreign leader. It has to do here at home, within our own borders. Are you kidding me? And I loved the frustration that he exuded here. It was just the right amount. It wasn't too in your face, but it was like, huh? Come on, man. Are we having this conversation right now? Are we really having this conversation right now? That is exactly the tone that he took. And I support it 100%. And that's why I wanted to start off the show with this. Something that you may have seen already yesterday, just rehashing it, because it sets us up for whatever the heck we watched yesterday night with Mark Carney in BC. This man is on one. This man is showing he only has one platform. It's to divide. It's to get fear going about Donald Trump in the United States. And he continues on that to open up his rally yesterday in BC.
The world has changed. And that our old relationship with the United States is over. Is over. And the world that I lived through my whole life, open global trading system, sponsored by the United States, that world is over.
Our relationship with the United States is over. Is over. We heard him say that over a week ago. It's over. It's done. This man can't seem to pick a position on this issue. because he only picks the position of what's going to get the favor of the people in front of him at the time. Don't believe me? Well, wasn't it just 3 days ago? He backtracked on this in front of a reporter, asking him directly about this rhetoric after Donald Trump's tariff announcements came down and they weren't as bad as they were anticipating them to be. Let's remind the millions and millions of people what his exact backtrack was just 2 days ago.
The old relationship when it comes to the tight military and security cooperation being over. So what exactly are you picturing, and what does that mean for NORAD?
Well, first and foremost, what I've emphasized has been the commercial relationship, the trading relationship, and the direction of that relationship. It was only a few months ago that many responded to the initial U.S. tariffs and discussions of tariffs by saying, this was not me, to be clear, but some prominent Canadians said, well, we should have a customs union with the United States. We should become closer to the United States. It's clear that that strategy has tremendous risks, would be misguided in my view, and misguided and create tremendous risks. There may be certain sectors where that's the case, but as an overall approach, that view, that relationship's over. As I just said, our military and security relationship is still, with the United States, is still our most important one, without question. So I didn't declare the end of that, and I'm not declaring the end of that.
I didn't declare the end of that. I don't know. Just wear backflips for us, shall you? Please, get yourself in a pretzel so we can just watch it and just shake our heads and facepalm all over it. Which one is it? Is it over? Or is it continuing? What are your feelings on this? Is it just because you woke up one day and said, nah, I think it's going to be over with the US today, and then tomorrow it's going to be, oh, no, this is the issue. Any type of pressure that's put on this man, any type of pressure, he will bend to the will of that pressure. Is that what you want in a leader? Is that what you want in a leader with Xi Jinping? Is that what you want in a leader with Vladimir Putin? Is that what you want in a leader with Donald J. Trump? This man is as soft as 10-ply tissue paper. He doesn't know what he wants. He doesn't know what he believes because he has one agenda, and that is the WEF. And he'll say whatever he has to say to try and get power. That's why he's so wishy-washy. That's why he has no platform, because it doesn't matter. Anything he's saying in this campaign, he doesn't intend to fulfill. It will always be about the WEF. It will always be about multinational corporations who are going to come in here, tell us how to live, extract our resources, and tell us to get lost and be poor, and you have to deal with it. That's what he's going to bring. That's why it's so wishy-washy. That's why it's annoying. He comes in later in this saying, change needs to, you know what, I'll show you. He says change needs to come to Ottawa, and people are just eating it up.
This is a big change. These are a big series of changes. And I was reminded, of another UK Prime Minister, Winston Churchill. And Winston Churchill, this is a comment on Ottawa, it's going to have to change. Lots of things have to change in Ottawa, which is part of what the election's about. But Winston Churchill,
this man goes on to talk about how he essentially compares himself to Winston Churchill, talks about, the changes that need to happen in Ottawa. Those are the things that people are grabbing onto. Wow. Just hold that in your mind for the time being, because I'm going to wrap that at the end of here. Just keep that in mind. But again, this man thrives on division. He couldn't keep Danielle Smith's name out of his mouth. This was a 15-minute address, and he addressed Danielle Smith not once, but he addressed her twice in a supremely disrespectful manner. And that, my friends, just shows he is not leadership material. But watch here. Address number one.
Our response, shameful. Agree, shameful. Our response is to fight and protect and to build. We are going to fight. And we are fighting. We are fighting the Americans. We are fighting the Americans everywhere they understand. We're fighting the Americans in the pocketbook. We have retaliatory tariffs on them. We just hit them again in the auto sector. We're fighting them on Fox News, which is what they understand. We're sending Doug Ford onto Fox News to show them And we're not messing around up here. And we're going to send Danielle next. Maybe we won't send her. We're going to send Danielle. No, maybe we won't. We won't send Danielle. We're going to keep her. No, that's a bad idea. Forget. Strike that. Just ignore that back there.
Yeah, we'll ignore it for you, Mark Carney. We'll strike that off the record. Yeah, just like it's some stupid live stream. Yeah, whatever, man. Just listen to the division all throughout that segment. We're going to take it to the Americans. We're going to make sure they feel pain. We're going to show them what's up on Fox News. We're sending Doug Ford and Fox News. Just a reminder, folks, there was in Ontario. You thought you voted Conservative? Well, you didn't. Doug Ford is in the back pocket of Mark Carney. He's a Liberal. Just a surprise. You didn't vote for a Conservative. You didn't have a Conservative to vote for, unfortunately. You voted for a Liberal in Ontario. I'm sorry to break it to you. That is the reality. And this man goes on to say, and we'll send Danielle too. We'll send Danielle too. Just kidding. Danielle's so, that was the rhetoric. It's just outwardly disrespecting a premier of this country who's done so much work to try and maintain a semblance of unity, to try and make sure tariffs weren't hit hard on our country. And because she didn't get in line with Mark Carney and his crazy rhetoric along with Justin Trudeau, she's a bad woman. She's bad for the country. Can't trust her. She's not elbows up Team Canada. And he makes sure to infer her name yet again, just 3 minutes later.
One Canadian economy instead of 13. Not a bad idea. So young people, you can work anywhere in the country if you get a profession right away. We are going to build ourselves into a... Don't take it away. I was just saying clean. That was Danielle. She was coming in. A clean energy superpower.
Rips on Danielle after promoting clean energy superpower, which we know is absolute BS. It hasn't worked in any part of the world. Anytime he's tried to infer his net zero policies, it's always ended in disaster. And no matter how much he coerces insurance companies, no matter how much he tries to coerce the private sector, it always ends in disaster. That's why they're abandoning them. That's why no one trusts him. That's why everything this man's touched has absolutely blown up in his face. This man's an ideologue who just has one thing and one thing only. And that's to try and get the people in his direct circle really rich through the green climate action scam. That's it. That's all this is. Any ways that he can figure out a way to drum up more business for Brookfield. Well, there's only really one way to try and attack climate change. And it's actually, if you buy the material from these select companies, that's how you're going to fight climate change. That's the only solution this man has. But he can't say that. He doesn't want that to be highlighted. So he's going to campaign on opposition to Trump, campaign on division in the country, and campaign on people's fears and doubts. That is it. The very thing they accuse Pierre Poilievre of is the very thing their candidate is doing on a day-to-day basis. Quite frankly, Mark Carney, he needs to be careful. He needs to be careful because his direct opposition in Nepean had a rally yesterday too. That was about this size or larger, reported by The Right Blend. That's Barbara Ball, who is going directly against Mark Carney in Nepean. He better be careful, or he might lose his seat. The fact she's drawing crowds about the same size as his, and he's in red BC right now, where he should have all the followers. He should be selling out stadiums based on how popular they're telling us he is. But his direct opponent in his riding, who's not running for Prime Minister, who's just running for an MP seat, is taking in more of a crowd than he is, who is the current sitting Prime Minister and looking to take on real, quote-unquote, re-election as Prime Minister. He better be careful. He better be careful. Because folks, Ipsos polls came out yesterday. I can hear your skin curling already. Like, oh, Josh, don't bother. It's a waste of time. No, I need to show you this because it's very interesting. So we have yesterday, 47% of the country say the Carney Liberal government has done a good job and deserves re-election. But 53% say it's time for another federal party to take over. And the thing is that doesn't make sense when you look at the PDF. When the question is, if an election were to take place tomorrow, who are you going to be voting for? 30% are voting for the Conservative Party, and 41% of respondents are saying they're voting for the Liberals. So how can this data point correlate to that data point? That doesn't line up. And here's the thing. It's because Liberal voters legitimately believe that Mark Carney is a different government. I know. It's stupid. It's ridiculous. It's unhinged. But that is the reality. When we talk to people on the ground and ask them, why are you choosing Mark Carney? They say because it's not Trudeau. It's a different government. It's a refresh. It's a restart. And we like what he's saying. That's what Liberal voters are saying. That's why they're voting for him, because they legitimately believe this is a new party. And I'm not going to take it out on these Liberal voters, because it comes down to our mainstream apparatus that has pushed that narrative, forcing people to believe it. That is what we call conformity bias. Well, if all the mainstream outlets are saying it and some of my friends in my direct circle are saying it, then it has to be true. Even though 80% of the cabinet's the same, it's going to be different, right? It's going to be different. The example I keep hearing used is like, oh, just, it's the same team, but a different coach. So that means there'll be different results. Yeah? How's that going for the Leafs for the past 15 years? They kept switching coaches up and keeping the same core of players. All of a sudden, did they see more success? Did they see more success? And yes, I'm going to use the Leafs as an example here because it's prime time for those Liberal voters. How did switching the coach work out for the Leafs? It's the same core. How did that work out? It hasn't. But that's what Liberal voters believe right now, is that Mark Carney and this new formed Liberal Party, in their eyes, is new. It's a new government. That's why those numbers are so weird and so out of whack. And that's why it's so desperately important that you continue to share this content so we can try to break through the noise, break through the mainstream media narrative, and show people a different perspective of what is currently happening. Because as we know, Mark Carney just gave the CBC a $150 million incentive to keep ratcheting up the crazy rhetoric, the lies, and the misinformation. And it's cranked. Because again, you're supposed to be down the middle. They claim to be neutral journalists. Well, Ground News views CBC News as a left-leaning media outlet. That's a pretty damning thing. So anyways, enjoy your Monday. I'll see you this afternoon. Have a good one. I'm out.